What's up, guys? This is Under the Surface. This is another solo episode. I'm your host, Anneli Maley, and this episode is pumped by Reebok. It is still a little bit windy, but I hope you hear more of the waves crashing in the background than you do the wind. It's the morning at the moment, so I was trying to get here for sunrise, but I slept in. That's okay. But I will be going for a swim after this. When I do these solo episodes, I kind of want it to be outside, especially the type of questions that I'm asking. I like the idea of being outside. I feel more connected to the earth and the planet and everything around me, but also I feel less awkward than if I was just sitting in my room filming myself. So anyway, the question today was about how do you manage anxiety before, during, and after sporting events. And I really like this question because it's something that a lot of people deal with, not just professional athletes, but I'm gonna talk to you guys about stuff that my psychologist has given me to work on and things that I'm continuously working on, because I don't have this bit figured out yet. I don't know, and it's something that I'm trying to work on, and maybe I can do an updated version of this with you guys, because I'm working with a new performance psych that is going to help me with this stuff, but this is what I have so far. A psychologist once told me that the physical response that you get when you're excited and when you're anxious is the same. It's the emotion that you attach to the way that your body's reacting. And I really liked that because it's right. When you're excited, your heart beats fast, and maybe you get a bit shaky and a bit sweaty, and that's what happens when you're excited, and it's what happens when you get anxious as well. So I actually, before games, if I'm like, wow, I'm feeling anxious, I stop myself and go, no, I'm excited. Because even though it's the same physical response, one has a negative kind of vibe to it, and the other one is excited, I'm ready, And so the first thing for me is changing that language, even if I don't believe it, but changing the anxious to excited, because it is the same physical response. And that'll happen before a game. Almost every single game or practice that I do, I might have to stop and reset my language. So if I'm feeling anxious, no, I'm feeling excited. And that's something that helps me set up for what I'm doing. And that doesn't have to be just sport. That can be in general life, whatever you're doing, but changing that wording. The next thing that I do is if I'm feeling anxious while I'm on the court, or when I'm sitting on the bench or something, once the game has started, I've worked with a psychologist to create a circuit breaker. I'm not great at it, but I'm trying. So my circuit breaker is a deep breath and to feel my palms either together or on my legs. You might see me do this actually during games. I put my palms directly onto my legs or onto each other, and I take a deep breath, and I go 4 seconds in, hold, 8 seconds out. And I do this because breathing in for 4 seconds and then slowing it on the way out for 8 is really quite hard to do, and I can't think about my anxious thought and breathing at the same time. People say that you can do two things at once, I can't. So that's my circuit breaker. For me, that's what stops the anxious thought, is just something as simple as a deep breath. And so that's where I'm at with that. I will take my deep breath, my circuit breaker, and I will focus on the feeling of my palms to my legs, or my palms against each other. I might just do this, or sometimes you'll see me putting my fingers to my palms. I really have to focus on that. I'm not very dexterous, that's not the word, but I really have to focus if I'm gonna do this. It's something that I really have to think about, right? So you cannot think about the mistake you just made and the anxious thought, your deep breath, and feeling your palms together. That's too many thoughts. So you have to move on from that anxious thought onto focusing on your breathing and the feeling of your palms. Now, in theory, that's supposed to work really well. Sometimes it works really well for me, sometimes not so much. So that's something I'm trying to implement more and more and more. I've definitely seen a change so far, but I'm not great at it. Sometimes I'll start my deep breath and I'll actually stop halfway through to think about the mistakes I just made, or I'll start putting my fingers to my palms and then I don't even realize, but I stop moving because I'm thinking about the mistake I just made. But the idea is that it breaks the circuit in your mind and forces you to think about something that isn't the anxious thought. So that would be my second thing on anxiety. And Look, I think that feeling anxious is a common thing for a lot of people, and if we can, or if just take away the like fear of it, you know, because like everybody feels it, and I think being open about it, and I tell my teammates when I'm feeling anxious, like I actually do, like I'm really open about it now, so everyone around me knows, and I can get that support there. I think I used to like just internalize it a lot and not tell people when I was feeling a certain way, and that never helped me, because then I'd be like, oh my God, what are they thinking of me? I'm now open about it. So that would probably be my third thing, is like tell somebody that you're feeling anxious. Tell your coach. I've told one of my coaches before when we're shooting, I'd be like, I'm feeling really anxious today. I'm not sure why, but I just need to vocalize it. Sometimes just vocalizing it and getting it out there and knowing that someone else is aware that that's how you're feeling, that really helps. Especially as a young kid, I never, ever, ever told anyone when I was feeling anxious. So in a sporting environment, if you tell a teammate or a coach as a young kid that you're feeling anxious, they can then be aware of how you're feeling, and you know, maybe they do relay information to you differently, because when you're anxious, your ability to like take in information it's impaired. It is like, that's just a fact. So those are my three things. So if I am to recap, it would be change your language that you're feeling nervous and anxious to feeling excited, because they're the same physical response. It's just adding a positive word to your physical response. The second thing is the circuit breaker. Find something that, it could be a word, it could be anything, but forces you to think about anything other than the anxious thought. Especially during a game, this is really handy. Or during work, or during grocery shopping, whatever it is, find your circuit breaker. And then the last thing is, don't be alone while you're feeling these anxious thoughts. Tell somebody, let somebody know. And I'm not saying you have to walk around and tell your whole entire team or whole entire family, but vocalizing the anxious thought and getting it outside of you takes some weight off your shoulders. And I think that's really important. So those are my 3 tips on experiencing anxiety as a professional athlete, as an athlete, as anyone going through sport. Sometimes I use those things in my general life as well, but definitely being here by the beach helps me with my anxiety quite a lot. I find that when I'm feeling anxious thoughts, coming down here and swimming and just feeling the water go through my fingers, and like picking up some sand and like feeling the sand go through my fingers, or when it's super windy here, I love the feeling of my hair going absolutely nuts. And it's kind of, I guess that's mindfulness, like having to focus on your physical feelings and only focusing on that instead of the thoughts in your head. So yeah, I think I want to do a whole episode on mindfulness, but this is supposed to be short. I think I've been talking for almost 10 minutes. My 3 tips on dealing with anxiety. Again, this is a work in progress for me. I'm really far off being perfect at this, and I'm working to add more things in. So there you go. That was a solo episode filmed on the beach. I'm Anneli Maley. This is Under the Surface, pumped by Reebok, and I really hope you guys enjoyed that. I am going to show you really quick what my dog is doing. He's sunbaking. I'm not really sure what's happening here. He was before just like completely sliding down that hill, but this is my view this morning. I have my coffee and my book. I have practice in about an hour and a half, so I am going to sit here, read, finish my chapter, finish my coffee, and go for a swim before I head out. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Until next time, please send in questions. I really liked that one. I'll have to tag the person who sent that in. Anyway, see ya!